everybody. IST UV Days. It is one of my favorite events, I must admit, and it's great because it's very educational. When you talk to all the exhibitors here, and also, of course, IST, you learn a lot about some of the technologies that are so important for the future, in my mind. Another thing is also great that you have a lot of time for networking, and that is also very good. And fortunately for Tim Sterbak, that I'm talking to now, the CEO of IST Metz, the weather is also better because they have a fantastic beer stube outside, and now it's not raining anymore.
Hey, good to have you here. Thank you very much.
It's always great to be here. I said to you that I wanted to do a little bit more, maybe a little bit harder interview than we normally do. And you know that we like IST very much, and you know that we are very in favor of what you do for the industry. But why don't you sell more?
Yeah, that's provocative. Yeah, the reason.
I mean, I know that you're a big player.
Yeah.
And I don't know how big you are compared to your competitors.
Yeah.
But why don't you just sell more?
Yeah. I think there are two main reasons why we don't sell more. Right. First is I think we don't have yet the really precise, correct product portfolio on hand for specific markets, for instance. So we're working on that. The latest releases are towards those price points, for those efficiency points, etc. So this is one specific, and then the other thing is the capacity. The capacity of our, we can probably increase by 10, 15, 20% more, but then we need to adopt the capacity. But that would be a challenge which I personally would like to have in the near future, obviously, and we're working against that. But the main situation is that the product portfolio is not there where I want to have that product portfolio, and that is where we're currently working on. And then hopefully we can sell more.
So you can produce more, because I asked you if you have the capacity, and you say, we have capacity to grow, of course, right?
Yeah.
Is that like when you, as a CEO of a company like IST Metz, is looking into the future? Obviously, you look at the cost base that you already have. You look at the potential that you can produce with the existing cost base and that. Then you look at R&D, and I take that all R&D in the world is always trying to find the comfort zone of where they work. Is that, as a manager, is that like, you have been here like 2.5 years or 3 years now, right? Is that like, I'm not asking about whether it's a challenge, but to get to the next level, I mean, you have to get the whole train to move in one way, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, if you're talking about train or ships or container ships, right? And IST is a container ship. I mean, you steer on a wheel, and it takes a long time to really shift forward and in a different direction, right? And that's what we currently do. So I'm here for 4 years already now. 4 years. 4 years. Okay. Crazy how time flies. Exactly. And in those 4 years, I mean, this container ship needs to be a little bit redirected, right? And that's what we do and what we did, and that is currently really paying off in regard. The product portfolio is coming. It's getting more grip and more tuned and fine-tuned for those hopefully customer fits. And the other situation is what probably also is helping is the complete environmental setup, right? And everything is going more into efficiency, more CO2 footprint reduced, right? And that plays into hand with the whole UV curing, especially also the LED trend towards it now with our FreeCure solution, having photoinitiators being reduced to the minimum or completely got free of photoinitiators. These are all kind of small steps towards our idea of the reduced emission, and then therefore, I mean, you can always say, okay, that's environmental friendly, but in the end, it's just, cost efficient because you don't pay the OPEX, the running cost, less oil running cost. That's, I think, the main driver and will be the main driver.
I'm also asking these maybe stupid questions because I'm also trying to understand, if you look at the IST Metz business, some of the business is OEM business. It's been not a secret that you've been working closely with Heidelberg for many years. And then you have like a replacement market, and then you have like new markets.
Yeah.
That's the three that I could just come up with, right? But I mean, when you are in a market where you're depending on, for example, I don't know how big percentage, but let's just for the sake saying that if you're 30% depending on Heidelberg, for example, you're freaking depending on that they sell UV machines, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that we are very close to Heidelberg. That should be like an idea where we broaden, and like for other OEMs as well, like, and we are open. So this OEM business is very important, right? Then you have the end customer business, which is also very, very important in regard of industrial replacement, and then the third pillar is basically then a service concept, right? But OEM business is very, very important in regard of volume and scale, obviously, and then also in the cost base. Clear, So I can't admit that.
If you look at all the segments of the printing industry, I think that GW has been, let's say, dominating the narrow web space for a long time, right? I think that AMS in America now with Baldwin was seen more like, let's say, maybe the ones that started the LED business kind of thing. Yeah. And you are somewhere in the middle where, I mean, do you see yourself also as a company moving into, let's say, narrow web, into packaging, into, let's say, the segments that are really growing now?
Yeah, that's really interesting because, I mean, IST had been a monopolist in the narrow web market, I don't know, like 20 years ago, right? I mean, they were the player in that segment. I mean, when Gerhard Metze developed IST, that was the first market to move in, right? So, and that's really a pity that we gave up this market completely. It's really nonsense. But that comes up with this market, products. We
about having the right products.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and therefore, I mean, obviously that must be a target for IST. I mean, we are very well connected in the industry, in the print world, and that is obviously something we have to get back into. Sure.
And if you look at, let's say, the product portfolio that you are building, is it very difficult to, I mean, from a layman's perspective, you have something that is this width and have this width.
Yeah.
But it has purple light. Yeah. Both of them, right?
Yeah, correct.
But I'm exaggerating, but is that what it takes, or is it a lot of more complexity to make products that fit, obviously price and functionality and reliability? Sorry, these kinds of important.
In the end, it's all about, at least from my perspective, the ROI, return on investment, right? Yeah. You buy something and then you have the running costs, and then you put that against the investment, right? So, and then when does this pay off? And honestly, in the past, IST was not very wisely in developing and looking into these ROI perspective, which is the most important part for the customer itself, right? So creating a product, a lamp in different sizes, always with the mindset, okay, what is the best ROI for the customer? What is the least OPEX operating expensive he can expect? Also, like when we in spare parts business, like the duration of the lamps, like lifetime of the lamps, in regard of competition, what is the price tag to that, etc., etc. So energy consumption. So these all must be flow into this equation and must be better than the competitor, then you win the market. That's pretty easy math, unfortunately.
That is how capitalism works, basically, right? So I mean, that is the term of how we all operate. If you look at all these different markets that are today approached by also IST, I was just wondering, because if you look at, again from the outside, the everybody talks about that the packaging market and the labels markets are the, let's say, the really growing markets, right? You also see growth in digital, maybe not so much on the UV curing side, but there's a lot of things. Are you sometimes even considering thinking that, okay, you have to maybe even look into other technologies to broaden IST product portfolio as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we do, right? I mean, the idea in the beginning was it could go super wide. Yeah, I mean, you can do everything with UV. That's crazy, right? Yeah, I mean, pharma, automotive, you name it, right? And that was a little bit the problem, at least I must say, for IST, that we were too broad and too wide in that sense. And that a little bit lost focus in having the right product for the right application. For instance, in the narrow world, where we lost sight there, right? So, and then really refocusing on, okay, what are we good in? And then get going stepwise, right? And seeing, okay, and then we are good in in printing, we are good in converting, we are very well in white web, we are in sheet fed very well set, right? So that these markets we understand. And then the next thing is, okay, which markets have the volume for lamps and for LED, and then in which markets can we play in? For instance, display market with our Excimus. It's a huge market, it's fantastic. We have been now very successful in the last 2 years in that market, being more and more in that sense. And then there are other markets to come, which are very exciting.
But I guess that one of the challenges, and I'm soon finished grilling you.
Yeah. Well, that's easy, right? Still.
No, Tim, I was just thinking that because, I mean, one of the issues you also have in the competitive space is obviously that you are working with a similar technology as your competitors.
Yeah.
I guess that all your R&D people have a similar engineering background and of course looks into some of the, let's say, energy cost savings, the frequency that you need to modulate in order to get the dryings, blah, blah, blah. And then at the other time, you're also dependent on the freaking same chemistry companies that you're working with, right? Yeah. It would be great if it was something that say, okay, this ink, it only works for IST. Yeah. But that is half the price of any other ink in the world, right?
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. Good, okay, good business idea. Maybe we have to think about that one. Yeah, I mean that is also a little bit the idea what we do with FreeCure, right? With this UVC enhanced, right? Where we work very closely with the in-manufacturer in order to make that like more customized, right? And say, okay, that works, or IST approved, like when you have it with a washing machine or something, right? So Calgonit, or I don't know if you know that, right? So hey, Bosch, okay.
So you would have an Amazon order button on the machine.
Yeah, exactly. For instance, like this, so, and meaning that, for different application, a custom-built ink with that FreeCure solution. That might be that way forward to going more and more into consumables, absolutely, and having this direct linkage, the light emitting with the ink or with the varnisher.
Very last question.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful event. 3 days with nerds from the world, right? How is it from you guys?
It's so great. It's really, really great. I mean, you rethink, and after each event, okay, is that still worth doing it? Is there still the venue? Is that appreciated by the visitors and also by the exhibitors, obviously? And I must say, it's really nice to have it done exactly after 2 years now again. A lot of visitors, a lot of exhibitors, more than 44, right? And yeah, these talks, the discussion are really fruitful and also inspirational, because I mean, you look over the table and over the dish, yeah, in German you say, I don't know if you say that in English, but yeah, it's like, it's more over the horizon, and this thinking I really love, and that's why I love the UV days.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Martin, thank you very much for talking to you.